and I just want to get a quick view from both of you, because when he's like this, he's unplayable. We also saw bad Dembele in the game. I thought in the second half there were moments where
it was just like the game was won after 47 minutes.
Yeah, so, but this strides with what Sid told us about the competitiveness side of it. I think.
But also, it was Alaba then against him, which is harder than Nacho, who we could all dribble past Nacho and outrun Nacho.
What I'm driving at is Barcelona have major financial issues. He is Barcelona's highest paid player right now. I think I'm right in saying, unless Coutinho pops up again out of the blue, or I'm forgetting somebody. He's out of contract. He's 24 years old. So you figure, well, he's productive. He's there. Xavi's getting a tune out of him. Sign him up. Equally, he has one of the most horrendous injury records in history. I was shocked by this. He hasn't started more than 20 games in a season for Barcelona since he's been there. He hasn't started more than 22 games in a season in his entire career.
Okay, he played 44 games last season, and he's on 22 already this season.
Counting appearances from...
Yeah, I'm just saying. 44 games last season,
I don't
he's
think
not bad.
It's certainly not 22 starts in the league.
No, he's played 22 games
football,
this season.
Which is what God intended when he said football, right? But there's no question, right? He's had serious injury problems. Sid, what's your sense of what they're going to do and what should they do? I mean, he has to take a pay cut if he wants to stay, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, the offer was on the table in the winter window, and he turned it down, which is, of course, why we got into this position in which Barcelona believed, or allowed themselves to believe, that he already had something done with another club. I actually think they were probably wrong at that point. I don't doubt for a minute that there were conversations with other clubs. It would be actually negligent of them not to have those conversations with other clubs. The offer will be good, but obviously not as good as he was currently on. And of course, part of it was they were trying to get him to spread the current payments over a longer period, which is why they needed him to renew, not just to keep him, but to be able to spread their money and get others in at that time, which is an incredible situation to find themselves in. The answer to what should they do is an answer, as I always say, that I actually don't know. Because there are times I look at it and think, well, this is an absolute no-brainer. Of course you keep him. And then other times you think, yeah, but at what point do you give up on patience and you lose patience with him? Because the truth is that until this last, month and a half or so, he has largely, and this sounds crueler than is my intention, but I think it's the right word. He's largely been irrelevant at Barcelona. He just hasn't been that important. Now, it's not always been his fault. It's through injuries, through moments of lost form, through other players playing ahead of him, because we shouldn't forget this, by the way. Barcelona had Luis Suarez, Leo Messi, and Antoine Griezmann. And that doesn't always leave a place for Dembele, even when he is fit. There have been moments when he's been brilliant. There's been moments when his decision-making, even in brilliant games, and we saw this a little bit last night, is awful every now and again. And I suppose with Barcelona, the question is, you now look at this and you take on that risk that you've said about injury, and you also take on whether this improvement right now is something that can be lasting, whether it's partly to do with the contractual situation in some way, whether there's an attempt to either prove a point or be born again or earn a contract, or at least have a chance to kind of flick the V's and say, right, up yours when you leave, or whether maybe this is actually about Xavi, and that therefore if Xavi's staying, you've got yourself a player that you didn't really have before. Is it about the culture around him being better? And this is one of the things I'm always really keen on sort of stressing. We sometimes talk about players' behaviour. The players' behaviour never happens in a vacuum. It happens in a culture. It happens in an attitude around the whole club. It happens in the way in which you train. And even on the pitch, it happens in context. So to give the best possible example of this, as I've just said a second ago, his decision-making sometimes is bad. What's the best way to deal with a player whose decision-making is bad? It's not necessarily to teach him decisions. It's to only offer him certain options on the pitch. So he bloody well has to do
Which
that.
Which are all good. There you go. That's the Sid Lowe method. Jules, we need to get on to Real Madrid, but I want to get your view on, just to wrap this Dembele up.
It's like what Milan have done, what Juve are doing with Dybala. You offer him contract. If he wants to take it, he's more than welcome. If he doesn't, then you can't. There's no room for him. There's no room for negotiation anyway. So
I'm
it's simple as that.
100% with you. You give him a number, maybe with a lot of bonuses or whatever.
Yeah, you try to make it as good as possible.
Well, as good as possible for Barcelona.
Yeah, for you, of course.
Realistic, right? Yeah. And then if he doesn't wait, go walk away. Because you know what? I'm a believer. I think Ansu Fati will be back at one point. And I know that with Ansu and Torres, I don't need to worry about the wings. I can address my other priorities that I might have as a club. And you know what? I also don't think Dembele is going to have this tremendous market for him out there, given the way things are unfolding around Europe, right? Because let's just think about it. He's going to move to another big club if he moves, yeah? And I'll leave Paris Saint-Germain to one side because I don't want to twist the knife. But realistically, right? Manchester City is obviously not a fit there. Liverpool have wingers coming off their backside. So do Bayern. Chelsea, we know the situation that they're in financially now and the uncertainty there. And also, I don't think they need more wingers.
Yeah.
Where do you go?
Yeah, no,
it's a good point. What are you going to do?
It's a good point.
Go to Juve and team up with Federico Chiesa, and it's not.
That's a good point.
I think the hard line is what you do, and if he wants to stay, he makes it work.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.